Hi fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in South Carolina, Ridgeland, South Carolina, for 10 things that shock tourists when they come here to South Carolina. And the first thing that shocks people when they come to South Carolina is the Palmetto State. And no, I'm not talking about the ubiquitous nature of the palmetto tree on the license plates and on stickers, on the back of their cars, or when you drive into the state of South Carolina and they say, "Welcome to South Carolina," there's a line of palmetto trees right behind there. No, I'm talking about the palmetto bugs and all of the bugs here in South Carolina. Ants that will bite you, mosquitoes that will suck your blood out. Oh, I don't know, the bugs in the Spanish moss that will make you itch all over. Yes, bugs will shock you when you're here, how many they are and how they really are all over. So don't think of it as the palmetto tree state, think of it more of the palmetto bug state, and you'll be more prepared for when you come. So yes, bring that bug spray, bring some long sleeves and some pants when you're here, because it might help you not get everything sucked out of your body or eaten out, but just have a heads up for that, okay? Now, the second thing that might shock you when you come to South Carolina is if you're driving to South Carolina from North Carolina coming down, or if you're driving up from Georgia and you're coming into South Carolina, you're going towards the north of the state, and that is your south of the border kind of experience, and how many silly signs and weird signs and all kinds of stuff is out there for south of the border. South of the border is south of the North Carolina-South Carolina border. It's I don't want to call it a rest area or a gas station or a truck stop. It's not that. It's like all kinds of stuff mixed together. Like there's cafes you can go to, there's souvenir shops, there's, little things for kids to do when you are there. It's an experience, and when you come by, you might be shocked by the very huge sign when you drive in. But what I like is when you're driving on I-95 and you just see their signs start. And you can buy like books of the silly signs for south of the border. So just know that they'll let you know that south of the border is coming. And when you go there, don't be shocked if you have the Blenheim ginger ale, which is kind of what you drink there. And if you're thinking it's going to be like your Canada Dry or your Schweppes, that nice, refreshing, cool, sweet ginger ale, wrong. This is a spicy ginger ale. So be ready for that. Now, the next thing that shocks people when they come to South Carolina, and if you're going to look to move to South Carolina, people will tell you this all the time, how quick and easy it is to go from the coast in a couple hours to being in the mountains in a few hours. There's so much variety in South Carolina because you have like the coastal zone and the coastal plains, and you have the sand hills, the Piedmont, and then you go to the Blue Ridge, the Blue Ridge Mountains that are there, and you have this whole beautiful stretch of land throughout the state. So when you're driving around, enjoy the different parts. Like we're here in Ridgeland, which is the very south, more of the low country part of it, and you got the coast right nearby, but I know we're driving up north, so I know we might get a chance to see some of the Blue Ridge Mountains and have a good time there, but it is really nice. I mean, I've talked to people that live in Columbia, and they're like, this is so nice. A couple hours, and I'm at the beach. A couple hours there, I'm in the mountains. You have that when you're here, and people are kind of shocked because when you think of South Carolina, you think, oh, it's just hot there. It's like beach and hotness? No, there's a lot of variety that you can enjoy when you're here, so bring your outdoor gear. Now, the fourth thing that might shock you to come to South Carolina is the accent. Look, most people when they're in South Carolina are just going I-95 down south to Florida, or they're going up north to like New York or someplace, and they don't always stop in South Carolina or get off the I-95 corridor. But I'll tell you, when you get off the I-95 corridor, that South Carolina accent can come out, and you might not be ready for it. But don't worry, you might not understand them all the time, but the friendliness of the people of South Carolina will make sure you understand and you get well fed and well watered when you are here, all right? And speaking of the well-fed thing, I think it's important for you to know that you might be shocked that when you have barbecue here in South Carolina, the sauce, the most popular sauce, is a mustard-based sauce. Sometimes use that tomato sweet sauce or maybe vinegar-based sauce in North Carolina and the sweet stuff in Georgia. You can get those, but the big thing here is the mustard sauce, the barbecue. And for some people, like, wait, why is it mustardy? Oh, because that's what they do here. And it's still fantastic. Don't you worry about that. So go get yourself some barbecue. Of course, the pig you got to enjoy when you're here. and eat up that mustard sauce. It is really, really good barbecue sauce. Now, the next thing that shocks tourists when they come here to South Carolina is when they visit historic Charleston and just how gorgeous Charleston is. Whether you're walking through the Battery and checking out all the beautiful homes that are there, seeing City Market when you're there, the historic buildings, the cobblestone streets, go see Yorktown, the ship, USS Yorktown, you go visit that. The aquarium's nice. The food, oh my God. The food in Charleston, you're going to eat so well when you're there. I like to say it's one of the most kind of European feeling cities in the U.S., but it's more than that. It's got the Southern charm. It's got the European vibe. It's got the streets. It's got the food. It's amazing. You'll be shocked how much you love it when you go to Charleston. Now, another place that you could go if you want some like historic charm, Georgetown's nice too. Another like smaller town you can visit in Georgia to get some like historic stuff. Another place that's very, very popular for tourists to go here in South Carolina is Myrtle Beach. I think the shock you'll have for that is how'd I say that? The packed insanity of humanity when you go to Myrtle Beach at spring break or in summer peak season, because that place gets packed with people. And there's tons to do. The beaches are great. There's all kinds of amusement stuff you can do when you're there. Great for the family, but man, the traffic and all the people, it gets really, really frustrating. But luckily, most likely, if you're going through South Carolina, you've been driving on 995, so you're used to traffic jams anyway. So it is something you'll be used to in terms of the traffic and all the people and all the congestion. But just know Myrtle Beach does get really, really packed. There are other beaches you can visit when you're here. I mean, Hilton Head Island's very popular, though I will tell you, Hilton Head Island, a lot of the beaches there are private. So if you're going to stay at Hilton Head, make sure you get a place that has permission to go to a beach. That's going to be helpful. Another beach that you can go to, I went there when I was a kid, quite had some good times there, some good memories from back in the day. There's plenty of beaches you can visit here. There's like 180, 190 miles of coastline in South Carolina. Obviously, a lot of really good seafood you can get here too. Shrimp and grits, thank you very much. You'll be very happy with that. Or you can have the Frogmore stew or Low Country Bowl if you're in Georgia. Jocelyn has a video on her Simply Jocelyn channel how to make it. I mean, there's a lot of really great things to enjoy when you're on the coast here. But just know, insanity packed humanity at Myrtle Beach at certain times of the year, all right? Now, thinking of Edisto and my experiences there, this is another shock I have. And that is when you realize that gator you thought was yard art is actually a real gator. Yes, they have alligators here. If you're near bodies of water, you need to be watching out. If you got little kids or you got pets and stuff like that, because there are gators here. And I'll tell you, I've seen one person run on water in my entire life, and that was playing golf in South Carolina, and he stepped on a gator, and the dude ran across the water to get out of there. I mean, it was like, oh my God, Mr. Rowe, are you okay? How did you do that? He goes, there's a gator there. Okay, so you don't want to mess around with the gators when you are here, and do have your eyes open, especially if you're like in watery areas and stuff like that, because they are here. So have a heads up for that. Now, remembering back to our vacations here in South Carolina, we came here a few times when I was a kid, and I've obviously visited a lot with all of our times in Georgia. But I will tell you, there's a special kind of heat and humidity when you come to South Carolina in the summer. I mean, 9 months out of the year, South Carolina is gorgeous. It's a great place to retire. People love living here. But man, if you come here into June, July, August, the heat, humidity, you're like, oh my God, it is just too much. Like you just feel hot all the time and sweaty and sticky. And it's just, bleh. So be ready for that. And if you're going to be going to like a Gamecocks game, if you're in Columbia, it's a nice city. But man, in the summer, it gets hot. Those first few games of the football season for the University of South Carolina, yeah, it can be a little uncomfortable there. Just letting you know when you have that. And I think the 10th thing I'm going to mention in terms of places and things that might shock you when you come here are all the plantations you can visit here in South Carolina. And a lot of those plantations have been refurbished, so you can go and you can do tours and learn about the history of the plantations and take in the beautiful architecture, but also learn a lot about the history, okay? And not all the history of South Carolina is good. The history of the enslaved people that are here, you can go and learn about that. I recommend going to plantations that have interpreters that tell you about the life, not just about the people in the fancy plantation house, but also about the enslaved people that were there that were working here in South Carolina. Because South Carolina was really big in rice. That's why you have Carolina gold rice. I mean, that's from here in South Carolina. And you can really learn a lot. And it can be shocking, the stuff you learn. But the beauty of those plantations, how they've been restored, and quite a few have actually been turned into bed and breakfasts. So you could do that as well to see and learn more about it. But it is something that tourists are like, oh my goodness, look at these plantations. And oh my goodness, look at the plantation's history. But it is something when you're in South Carolina to visit those plantations. It is something you should really do when you're here, all right? So those are my 10 things that shock tourists when they come here to South Carolina. So what shocked you about coming to South Carolina? Was it the beauty of the mountains, or was it the beauty of the coast, or was it walking the streets of Charleston, or was it just shoveling your face full of the fantastic food that's here? From the barbecue to the seafood to the she crab soup. I mean, there's so much good stuff to enjoy when you're in South Carolina. And if you want to know what to eat, Jocelyn actually has a video on what to eat in South Carolina to give you some more tips of the tasty grub that's here. But one thing is, there's a lot of wonderful nature when you are here to enjoy. And I wanted to give a special thank you to Operation Patriots FOB, who actually are letting us film here today. And they're beautiful settings. It's a place where combat veterans can come and retreat and relax and have a nice time together, you know, and it's really, really a great program they're doing to help out a lot of veterans. So I want to say a special thank you to them. If you want to learn more about them, there's links down below to see how you can help them out. But otherwise, enjoy your time in South Carolina. I know you will. From the food to the fun to the outdoor nature and the fantastically friendly people, you can't go wrong. Bye from South Carolina.